And the other individual that we have sitting here in the studio is Katie Howard. Katie, what prompted you to do this? You're a young mother, right? You're a busy person.
I am, Gordy. 37, mother of two. I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old and husband. I have spent my entire career in service. I currently work for Hennepin County as a senior project manager. So my entire job is to help make government better for the people that it serves. And I've been looking for an opportunity to bring those skills and experiences here to our town. And when 3 seats opened up, I saw that that was meant to be. So here I am.
10 individuals are running. They'll be pared down to 6 after Tuesday. 4 of the individuals are not going to move forward. You've been through other elections before, John.
Correct, yep.
And, well, you've been on, you've been off, you've been appointed, right?
Yep, appointed twice, elected once.
So obviously you enjoy it or you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of commitment, but that doesn't deter me. There are some weeks I have meetings every day. I've even had meetings on Saturday. So, but it's good. It's a good experience. People can come in and share their concerns. And, you know, we're a city. We have to operate within the law, you know, what the guidelines are. And we try and represent the people the best that we can.
You grew up here, right?
Correct.
What elementary did you go to?
I went to both Jefferson and Lincoln, and then to Faribault Junior High School, and then Faribault Senior High School, where I graduated.
Right. And Katie, where are you from?
So I was born in California. My mom and I moved all over the country. And when I was about 14, I said, I want to live in a small town. I want to plant some roots. And so she agreed that we could move to Medford, where I had family living at the time. So we moved there. I met my husband when I was 15 years old at Medford High School. That's where I graduated from. Joined the Army, moved a little bit around the country again with that. And when my husband's second enlistment was up, we decided we wanted to come back to southern Minnesota where it was home. And we found Faribault to be the place to plant our roots. And we've lived here since, 2018? And I don't see us leaving anytime soon.
Well, John, I know that you're kind of a technical whiz, right?
Yep, that's what they say.
Geek Central is your business downtown?
Yep, my business is Geek Central in downtown Faribault.
So you might know something about data centers. How come they're so controversial? All over the country, not just here.
It's really changed in the last 4 or 5 years with the development of AI. It isn't that data centers themselves are bad. It's what's called hyperscale data centers, excessively large. Even a couple months ago, there was a proposal in Utah, of all places, to put in a 6-mile data center, right? The concern for the public is it going to raise my electric rates? Is it going to draw down the wells on my private property? Is it going to draw down the city's wells? A data center uses more water than Coca-Cola Bottling Company or Budweiser. And that should be everything you need to know, right? And then you also have the noise concerns that the public has mentioned. And then you've got the cooling problems, which is where the water usage comes from.
So what's your stand on it? Should we have one?
I don't know that it's a good fit for our community. But the process, the problem I have with this whole thing is that the public has expressed frustration to me. I wasn't around when this decision was made. Okay, I'm stuck with the cards that I was dealt. Had I been around at that time, I would have been opposed to it, right? This isn't the type of data center that you use to do banking for Wells Fargo. This is AI. This is what they believe the future is. Well, what is the future? To eliminate all the jobs? What are we going to do when there's 350 million unemployed Americans? What is our strategy then?
What are your thoughts on data centers?
It's a very hot topic right now, and I do share a lot of the same feelings as John. I think right now there is absolutely no way we can approve this. We just don't know enough about it and the impacts that it's going to have on our infrastructure, our natural resources, the families that live nearby that aren't even Faribault residents, they don't even get a say because they technically don't live within the city limits. And then you have the livestock that's over there and the rest of our community just in general. There's a lot to be considered here, and I don't think that Archer, the CEO, when he came and spoke, is willing or able to give us answers. They don't know who's going to go in there, how many companies are going to use this data center, what's going to be used for the cooling, what's going to be used to generate. What they can say is they're trying to deal with the electric. Steel Waseca, I believe, they have an agreement with. But if they ever moved out of that building, those residents are going to get stuck carrying that load for all that infrastructure that got built up for Steel Waseca. It happens. We see this, and we're hearing about it all over the country right now.
So you put off a vote till March, right? Isn't that what the council decided?
Yeah, well, under the stipulation with the courts, we gave them until March to produce the documents that were requested in court. At that point, I believe we review them and then the court reviews them. And if it's satisfactory, then the next step happens. That if we review them with our legal counsel or the courts review them and say this is insufficient, that would trigger an environmental impact statement, which is the bigger document.
I was just going to clarify. There's an environmental review and the environmental impact statement.
Correct. And again, if we're going to go down this path, we probably should have just done the environmental impact statement on day one.
I agree.
But remember, when this came through, this was not a controversial issue.
Was it not a controversial issue, or was it not a widely advertised issue where people were really engaged with it? Because I feel like it kind of caught people by surprise. There's a lot of residents I'm talking to right now that had no idea this was even happening, because maybe they aren't on the city's website looking at agendas. Maybe they aren't seeing the Faribault Facebook posts. Like, they just don't know.
Or listening to KDHL.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't think you're wrong. I just remember it being a blip in the newspaper in 2023 or 2024. Like, I just briefly read it and moved on, right? So
all right,
I think we've got more knowledge than we did then.
Sure. We're going to take a little break from these folks, let them catch their breath, and we're going to hear now from Jack Cluck. Well, let's get to know Jack Cluck, candidate for Faribault City Council. Jack, have you ever run for a position before?
In 8th grade, I ran for president of my class.
And how did you do?
I became vice president.
Well, at least you got somewhere there, right? Have you always had an interest in civic service?
I have. I definitely have, but I've always been on the sideline.
What prompted you to run?
Just that. No longer want to be on the sideline. I want to have a voice in the matter. I want to have a say.
Is there a particular topic, though, that you get really riled up about?
Taxes, definitely. Well, I would say with taxes, definitely.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you your thoughts on data centers.
Well, with the current chatter, and what I do know, not doing a deep dive on it, but doing enough to set aside any one way or the other view on it. Right at the moment, I'm not in favor. That's for sure. But then again, there's a whole other side that needs to be heard before I can really make an educated decision on it. Right,
but the council, the current council, has put off until I think it's February of next year a decision on what they're going to do in terms of data centers. So it's going to be front and center should you become elected.
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe it's the end of March, to be exact, 2027. That's for a more comprehensive environmental study, and that's what I want to know more about, is the environmental study, see what comes with that.
Yeah. One should be required before a data center becomes reality, right?
I think before anything becomes reality, especially of that magnitude and that size, definitely. What's it going to do? How's it going to impact the community? How's it going to impact the environment? Both living, all environments, living and dead. But, yeah, definitely.
There is talk about renovating expanding the current community center. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely all for it.
There was talk about maybe building a new one. Would that be preferential to expanding what we have?
We've got the roots, we've got the guts. It just needs to be gutted and then rebuilt. I have to look at the financial impact of something like that. You're probably talking around $50 million minimum in that area, probably just to have it renovated and brought up to today's standards, whatever today's standards is in a community center. But I think if you build from the ground up, it'd probably be a lot more. So, and then what will we do? We tear down the old and put a new one on top of it, or are we looking at a different open space? So just adding more building or whatnot for maybe not the right purposes.
How do you think you're able to do that and keep your taxes down?
Well, that's a good question. I'll never profess to be an accountant of any way, shape, or form, but in order to grow, we definitely need to look at abatement opportunities and whatnot, and I don't really have a concrete answer on that.
Well, if you want to, you said taxes is one of the big issues in your mind, and in only way that we're going to be able to lessen our tax problem, or if you see it as a problem, is to increase the tax base, right? We got to get more businesses here.
That's correct.
Is this something?
I agree completely up with that.
Yeah. Is this something that you would be good at, you think, in helping lure businesses to the community?
I think I'd be all right in that area, definitely. We're a river town. We don't really promote that too much. And we have, we're a historic town. And aside from the occasional blip online or a sign just saying, hey, welcome to historical Faribault, I don't really hear it pushed outside of the community that often to draw outsiders to the area. I think that would be one of my, definitely, because that's part of Project 2040, what I know about it. Our Vision 2040 for Faribault is, maintaining its small town charm, small townness, I should say, but also being able to build and bring, people to want to come to the neighborhood.
Are you happy with our public safety services, the fire and the police departments?
From what I know, correct. Yes, I do. I do. In fact, one of my neighbors is a current Faribault police officer, and so I get a chance to chat with he and a lot of his, his colleagues and whatnot now and then. And I have a retired sheriff, Rice County Sheriff, on my street as well. So I kind of look to them for advice, or current events. How are you seeing things, guys? What's going on? Things seem to be okay. But yeah, I feel comfortable with the way things are.
So, Jack, why should people on Tuesday vote for you?
I'm not a politician, so I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear just to get your vote. I'm just going to tell you like I feel like it is. I bring a new set of eyes to the town. I'm going on my 4th year as a Faribault resident, but intend to make it my town for the rest of our lives, my wife and I, and my mother-in-law who lives with us. I'm a decent leader. I've got strengths of being able to pull people together and make decisions based upon group efforts. And I feel that I would bring a good sense and sensibility and a good voice to the community and for the community.
All right, I sure appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you reaching out.
You bet. Jack Cluck, candidate for Faribault City Council. You are listening. We are going to visit now with Brett Pollard. He's running for City Council, one of 10 candidates, and his motto is, for Faribault, we are better together.
Yes, sir.
How'd you come up with that?
Well, I love Faribault, and I think that what makes Faribault great is the people. And so we're better together when we're united. I think there's a lot of things in the world that try to divide us these days, and so working together is better.
Are you a lifelong Faribault resident?
I am not. My wife is, so I married into Faribault here. We moved here about 11 years ago now. I'm from northern Minnesota, so we've lived here since then.
How did she convince you to come here?
Well, we wanted to be by the in-laws, by the family. She has a big extended family, and so we're glad to be here. It's only fair. I was up north by my folks for 10 years, and now we've been here for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of even it all out, huh?
Yes, sir.
So what prompted you to decide to run for Faribault City Council?
Well, I had some friends that asked me if I would, and so they saw something in me that they thought would be benefit to the city, so I hope I could do that. I think I could serve well. I don't have aspirations politically or anything, but I think I'll do my best, and I do love the city.
Is there one or two issues that are piquing your mind?
Well, there's a lot of plans going forward that could make Faribault better or not. I think something that I think is lacking is financial responsibility. That's a big one, and open communication. So I think those are things a lot of the people in the city don't know what's happening and where their money's being spent. And so I think that's super important. You can see my whole campaign is right here. I didn't do signs. I kept it word of mouth. I wanted to show people that I'm going to be responsible with their money. I take stewardship of their money very seriously. I think that's a big issue. And then communication. I think people don't really know what's going on, particularly, what happens at the meetings, what's happening in the city. And so I think that's important that people know, kept up to date, and then they can catch the vision for this is what's happening in Faribault going forward.
Well, every Wednesday, following council meetings, even work sessions, the mayor joins me on our 8:05 News in the Morning, gives us a summary of what happened. So that's a way to update people.
Perfect. Love it.
Happens every Wednesday. Data centers, big topic these days.
Yep.
Your thoughts
for sure.
on that?
Well, it's not just a big topic here. It's a big topic nationwide. I defer to those that know better than me. I think it's important to talk to the people of the city and see what they think. And I have not heard one person be for it. So I absolutely cannot be for it. I mean, there's a lot of concerns, as far as, electricity usage, water usage, but I think just as big as light pollution, and then this sound, this noise that they emit is a big deal too, that I think kind of gets overlooked. So there's a lot of negatives, and I just don't necessarily see the positives. They're going to go somewhere, but they don't have to come to Faribault. And so it's not my only issue, but I think it's an important issue. I do hope that we can pass things that would at least move it later, where there's proper studies done, and for any high usage, it doesn't just have to be data centers, but there's going to be other high usage customers like that. And so I think that's important to consider. And, I do think that they'll be passing stuff statewide and maybe nationwide that will help that.
Your thoughts on a community center? There's talk now that we're going to build a brand new one. They thought, well, we're not going to necessarily be able to afford that. Now the talk is to renovate what we have and expand it. But that's got a pretty interesting price tag to it, too. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's the biggest need for our city is having a good community center that would match how amazing Faribault is. And so many people I know, they're going to Northfield to the Y or Mankato or Owatonna. So they're leaving to just go to get some of those things that they're looking for in a community center. So yeah, it needs to happen. I don't have a preference whether we renovate or whether we go new, but it has to be something much bigger, so everyone can use it and enjoy. I live downtown, so we do use the community center, but it's full. And there's only so many things that kids can do. So it's definitely limited. I'm fine with expanding there if it saves money, if we can get the facility that we need.
What do you think we need?
more courts, more, probably better pool. The weight room, all those things can be expanded. Racquetball courts, I think there's walking tracks. I do appreciate Shattuck opening theirs in the winters, but having more options, especially with connected with the community center there, if we're going to keep it connected there. Things for seniors that they're going to enjoy, different classes, dedicated spaces to those things. So,
Police and fire, you satisfied with those services?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I live right next to the police station. I see they're busy. I mean, I hope they have enough people. Same with the fire. I live a block from the fire, so we see them coming and going. They are busy. So, I mean, we could always use more volunteers for that. For the police, they're doing a great job. I mean, I hope that they have the manpower that they need.
Any priorities you want to share with people before I let you go?
I'm just happy to be running and get an idea for what people want. I really am interested in what the community thinks is important. And so we have a great history in Faribault, generations of history, and we have a bright future. I just hope and pray that we can play our part well as we're making decisions right now.
As I'm sure
the future.
As I'm sure you've recognized, Faribault really hangs its hat a lot on history. Very historical community. You think that's a good thing?
Absolutely. I love the history of Faribault. I love the historic downtown. I mean, I bought a building and moved my family down there, me and 7 kids. So we're busy. We love it. We love being a part of the downtown community, the business owners and the community. And so, yeah, I love the history of Faribault. It's important.
Wow, 7 kids. How do you have time to serve on the city council?
Right. It's going to be a juggling act. It's not because I have extra time. It's because I think I can do a good job serving.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you stopping in.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it very much. That, my friends, was Brett Pollard. It wasn't supposed to jump right to Brett. The stop sign on the computer ran right through the stop sign. And that's what caused the collision to the next interview. But it works out. We'll have Paul Wunderlich a bit later, but let's go back to our guests who are here and have been patiently waiting in the KDHL studio. We have Katie Howard, and we have John Rowan, who's currently on the council and is the only person running for re-election.
Correct. Yep.
Does that make you feel uncomfortable at all or anything that you're the only incumbent?
No, I mean, people's lives change. Peter had more responsibilities with the county fair, so I could see why he didn't seek re-election. Adama is running for a state position, I believe.
Senate, yes.
Senate, yeah. So, people move on, try different things. And like I said in the newspaper interview, at least 2 new seats are going to be filled, maybe 3. We just don't know. That's up to the voters, and whoever takes over from here, I believe they'll do the best that they can.
What piece of advice would you give to new members on the board with your experience?
Listen to the public and listen to your legal counsel, right? Only a fool will argue with their attorney.
That's an Abe Lincoln line, isn't it?
If it is, I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, I thought Abe Lincoln
Yep,
said.
if your attorney flat out tells you something isn't right or isn't ethical or isn't proper, there's a good reason that they're telling you that. So their job is to keep you on the straight and narrow and keep the city on the straight and narrow.
Katie, have you been involved in any other government, school government or anything?
No, not school government. Just being a project manager, I've been involved in working for government for over 15 years, not to age myself, but I've and the military before that. So, I mean, since high school, I've been a big part of government.
So you're a believer in representing.
I am. I believe that good government can be achieved, but it takes really strong people who are willing to do the right thing, even when it's the hard thing. And that is what I do every single day.
What would be your top 3 priorities?
Ooh, good question. So the things that I'm hearing most from our voters right now is around housing. There is a big need for more affordable housing. And I know affordable can be, a buzzword. But realistically, we have, 36% of folks who are single adults living on their own. We have another 21% who are married with no children. They don't need $400,000. Well, hold on, let me back up. They don't need those like 5-bedroom, $600,000 houses because they don't have all the children. They don't need all the space. So we have rentals that can meet those kinds of needs, but we don't have a lot of townhouses. We don't have a lot of small, affordable, smaller lot homes where these folks might be more wanting to live due to less maintenance, less costs. And when you look at our median household income, you're only at $75,000 a year. That's the medium in Faribault. You can't afford a $400,000 new build home right now, especially with the 6-7% interest. So right now, housing is just so far out of reach for people. We need to find ways to make it more affordable. And I think part of that is city ordinances. We do have a lot of city ordinances that we have flexibility with potentially for variances or changes. So that's one. I also, for that one, I also think prefab homes, townhomes, modular homes are options as well. So moving on to another one is around infrastructure. That's another big priority of mine. Our roads, our sewers, our water, those are things that all of us use every single day. They need to be maintained properly. I was just meeting with Travis Craig the other day, and I learned that we have water mains that are in our ground currently from 1883 and 1901. They are well past their life, and they've done their job well, but some of them are made out of wood, some of them are made out of concrete, clay. They need to be replaced. Things like that are also part of the reason why we end up with sinkholes and the water main breaks that are shears. It's because our ground is constantly moving. And so if we are able to update that to the PVC, that would do a great deal of help. The infrastructure pieces, not only do we have the roads, but we also have a lot of public buildings that need new roofs. They need a lot of maintenance. I think, the community center is one that is getting brought up. Things need renovation. They need updating. They need to be maintained. And I really want to see these priorities move to the front of the line. We're building a lot of new, nice to have things like our Viaduct Park. But I feel like with $10 million, we probably could have updated some other infrastructure first that we need to have in place. So, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you haven't got.
There was a third. We didn't talk about a third. Do you want to?
I thought you went through 3. Go ahead.
No, the other one is just going back to the data center. That really is the third topic that I think is on everybody's mind.
All right. Yep. How about you, John? You got 3 top priorities?
Well, I was listening to her list and I was intrigued. Her number of 70,000 is different than the number that we've been presented on council, and not in a good way. I mean, we've been presented 60,000 is what the average husband and wife make in Faribault. Not to take away from her point, but housing is a big problem, but city doesn't build housing. That is partnerships with industry. And it's interesting because in 2016, I think we were 400 units short, so we built 200, 300 units, and now we're 800 short.
A lot of apartment buildings in this town now.
Yeah, but she's right. I mean, we have this problem where affordability is a big issue, and
it's not just Faribault.
No, it's everywhere. And the problem is that the taxes keep going up. And I try and explain this to my colleagues, right? If you raise the taxes 10%, I might be able to tolerate that. But if you do that 10 times, you've now doubled my tax. That's 100% change, right? We have to stop spending money, and we got to give relief to the American people, to the people of Faribault, to the people of Rice County, the people of the state of Minnesota. We are bursting at the seams with liabilities and debt obligations, and it doesn't seem like anybody cares about the middle class or the lower class, to be very honest. They don't care.
All right, we're going to play this Paul Wunderlich interview, and then we'll wrap things up with Katie Howard and John Rowan as our show continues. By the way, again, Friday night, we'll have the other 5 individuals that are running for Faribault City Council on the airwaves. We want you to be an informed voter when you hit the booth on Tuesday. I'm hoping I can get these recorded and up on our website as well for those who can't listen during these specific time frames. That's the beauty of being able to do those recordings. So let's hear from Paul Wunderlich. We're going to visit with Paul Wunderlich, Faribault City Council candidate. Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Happy to do it. Thanks for having me.
First of all, why did you decide to run?
Just looking at the landscape of the city, certainly the data center is a big issue, and I've got some good ideas for how we can protect our city from that facility. And then just looking at my property tax statement, got a little bit annoyed just seeing how high our property taxes are. Granted, nothing compared to our neighbors over in Northfield, but just want to see the city be responsible with our spending. And so those were the two big issues that really got me to run.
Have you done anything like this before?
No, this is all new to me. I did run for township board when we lived out in the country. That was for Walcott Township. That didn't pan out, and so now we're in town and want to help the city.
You said you had some ideas on how to protect the city from data centers. You care to share that?
Yeah, I sat down with Katie Howard and Jake Reed, two of the other candidates for city council, and worked with them on a plan, just some regulations that we can put in place as a city, things like mandating that they use a closed loop water system, mandates as far as how they're going to insulate the noise, lighting regulations. We've got a number of things in place there. It's a 10-point plan. And you can find that on our campaign Facebook pages. I could certainly send you a link to that too as well after our call here.
So you have a website then?
Yeah, not really a website. What Katie has done is she took the document and put it into Google Drive. So we have our Facebook pages for our campaigns, but then we have a Google Drive that has this document in it that is open to the public. Anybody with the link can access it. Happy to share that with anybody who wants to take a look at our plan.
They are contemplating a community center expansion of the present facility. They were talking a brand new community center, but then council members decided that probably can't afford that, so it sounds like expand where they're presently located. I don't know that that's etched in stone, but that's what they're leaning toward. Your thoughts on that?
I think that's probably a more responsible use of the city's resources rather than building a brand new facility. Certainly, we'd have to look at the cost, and I'm not going to come out today and say one way or another that I support it because I just don't have enough information. The big thing is going to be cost. I know there are a lot of people who want to see either updates to the community center or a new facility. The reality is, we need to take a look at the hard numbers and just see how many of our households in town are actually using the community center. And that, I think, needs to be an important consideration when we think about how we're going to fund that.
One of the other candidates said he lives in that area and uses it quite frequently and says it's bursting at the seams.
Yeah, I don't have any context into how busy it is. And certainly just even if it is busy, that doesn't mean that everybody who's using it is from in town. We could have people coming from outside of town, other communities. So there's just a number of considerations there. If it makes financial sense for the city and isn't going to be a burden on the taxpayers, I'm certainly interested in taking a look at that. But my primary concern is protecting our resources and making sure that we aren't putting large burdens on the taxpayers, especially if a large portion of the city is not actually using the community center.
Are you satisfied with our police and fire services?
Absolutely, I am. I had an opportunity recently to go on a ride along with one of our officers here in town and see what they do on, it was a Friday evening around the 4th of July, and just got to see what they do to keep our city safe. And the fire department, they do a wonderful job. they've got some great metrics on how long it takes them to respond to calls and all of that. So, yeah, our police department, our fire department, I believe both are doing a wonderful job.
What would be your top 3 priorities if elected?
Top 3. So number 1 would be the data center, just making sure that we get regulations in place to protect our city's resources. Number 2 would be responsible spending, making sure that any projects we take on, we know the budget up front and we're the full budget, not like some of the projects that we've got going on now. And then housing. I want to see us prioritize affordable single-family homes for young couples and young families just starting out so they can build equity in something and have something that they can be proud of and then sell that to the next young family when they're ready to move on.
How do you define affordable?
That's going to look a little bit different for everybody, but I'd say under $250,000 would be what I'd be looking at there. And if you look at what's currently available in town, if you get under that threshold, usually it's a house that needs a lot of work, and that's not necessarily great for a young family. Every situation is different, but I know for my wife and I, with our 3 kids, we would not want to move into a fixer-upper because we don't have time to be fixing a house while we're raising our kids.
And finally, why should people vote for Paul Wunderlich for City Council?
That's a really good question. One, I'm honest. I'm not going to sit here and tell lies to the voters, or should I get elected to the constituents. I have nothing to gain by lying. I'm honest to a fault, and I'll call it like I see it. I'm not running for city council to make friends. I'm running for city council to try to make a difference for our city. There's no political games with me. It's just what's going to be best for our city, what's going to be best for our residents, and really looking at the future and taking care of what we have for the next generation.
All right, Paul, I certainly appreciate your time. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for the call and giving me this opportunity.
You bet. Paul Wunderlich, again, running for Faribault City Council. We're going to round out the program here. Again, in studio are John Rowan, the only incumbent running for re-election this year, and Katie Howard. And again, I'll emphasize that 10 individuals are running for 3 seats on the Faribault City Council. They will be pared down to 6 on Tuesday. That means 4 of the people that we're talking to here are no longer going to be candidates come Tuesday. We would highly encourage you to get involved in the process, right? And there's nothing more important, in my opinion, than local city council. Wouldn't you agree, Katie and John, that local affects your life more than the national scene or the state scene?
Yeah, I would say so. I had a constituent come up to me years ago, right after I first got elected, and they said, the thing about local people is that you can go talk to them. You can't do that with your federal representative or your state representative in most cases. But you can come over to my shop any day of the week. You can go visit Katie.
Yep.
You know, we have an open door policy. Anybody who's running, they're all local. They all live here. They're all your friends and neighbors.
Well, we have a vested interest because, like you said, we do live here. We want the city to operate well, and we want to get to know our neighbors and do the right thing for them.
So when you talk to people, you've been doing some door knocking, have you?
Not a ton of door knocking. I like to respect people's privacy. That's their safe space. So I haven't done any door knocking yet. I've just been making myself available at public events, a lot of social media posts, and word of mouth is mainly how I'm running my campaign right now.
But you've talked to some people?
Lots of people.
What's their top concern in your mind?
Their top concern? Data centers. Data centers are the top of everybody's mind right now.
Okay.
And I'm starting to hear a lot more about public safety. You know, flock cameras, privacy, things like that are starting to kind of trickle up a little bit more now. But I think just general wanting our city council to be making wise choices with finances. We need to reduce our tax dollars right now because people are just feeling the squeeze everywhere. I think that's really what all of it comes down to is we're being squeezed from every side.
Yeah, I think she hit it right on. For me, the big thing is the city council is spending way too much tax money. People are broke. And I'm glad you brought it up, the flock cameras. A lot of people feel that there's a privacy concern there. Yeah, they have their good sides, they have their bad sides. And I've had constituents come down to my shop, and they say I am absolutely opposed to them, and they will not budge on it. And that's their right. So as we move forward over the next 4 or 5 years in society, government's going to have to make some tough decisions on what a reasonable compromise looks like.
They're talking about expanding the current community center. They were talking about a brand new one, but I get the sense that the council's leaning more toward revamping what we currently have, making it larger with the tax issue in mind. Are you in favor of that?
That's a tough one. I do know that our current community center does really need some renovations to it. And I do know that there are a lot of opportunities to expand like the fitness portion of it. So that way more folks can actually utilize these great services that we do have in our community. But when you're looking at, I looked at the 5 different options, and it ranges anywhere from, $13 million all the way up to $70 million, depending on which option the city decides to go with. Under no circumstances do I think that we as a community can invest $70 million in pretty much anything at this point, including a community center. There are a couple options where they would do some renovations, get it back up to where it needs to be, which also aligns with some of that infrastructure that I was talking about. We have to maintain the services that we already provide. So yes, renovation, if we can do it for a reasonable cost, expand some services and make it work better for our community, and we have it in our budget to do it, where we're not taking out massive loans that are going to cost interest, sure, let's talk about it. But I really want to see the data and the return on investment from the numbers.
John, your thoughts on the community center?
Yeah, and she brings up some good points. Anything that happens is 3 to 4 years in the future. The current council, their thought process is dig out some of that back area and make it bigger. If I had to spend $13 million to renovate a community center or buy back a hospital, well, you know where my money is. I want the hospital. So this isn't a decision that's going to be, rushed through. It's going to take a lot of community engagement and what the economy looks like in 1, 2, 3 years before we go down that process.
Now, just a minute. Am I hearing you say that we're going to have to buy back the hospital?
No, I'm saying that there is a real possibility that if Sutter Health can't make it work financially, they will choose to either sell it or shutter it. And that isn't just a Faribault thing. That's going to affect eventually Waseca Hospital and Owatonna Hospital. Rural hospitals are in a world of hurt right now. The only one we can look to that appears from the outside to be successful is Northfield Hospital and Clinics. And so if it were solely up to me and that hospital came up for sale, my recommendation would be to bond for it and buy it. Because if we lose our hospital, we're going to have a world of hurt.
Northfield recently went back to a city-owned hospital.
What's that?
They just recently went back to a city-owned hospital in Northfield.
Yeah, I thought they were city-owned from like the 50s or 60s.
Well, they were, but then they went kind of like us, and now they're
affiliated
back to,
and stuff.
Now they're back to city. So anyway, the final moments we got in the show, Katie, I'll start with you, because ladies should be before gentlemen. And I'm really using that word rather loosely, gentlemen.
Oh.
Just kidding, John. Tell me why people, when they go to the booth on Tuesday, should vote for Katie Howard.
Great question. So Faribault is where we have chosen to make our home. My entire career has been dedicated to making government better. And I think with the project management work that I do and the strategic planning that I do, I am uniquely qualified to serve in this role with where Faribault is at right now and the decisions that are coming up in the next 2 years, 5 years, 14 years as they look to that Vision 2040. There's a lot of planning that has to happen, and we need to make sure that we're making really strategic decisions that are sustainable and realistic for who lives here today and the money that we have today.
John, why should people vote for you?
Because I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to dedicate the time. I have served in government, both as a paid employee and as a volunteer, my entire adult life. People know me from the sheriff's office through emergency management. They know me through Rice County Skywarn. They know me through my radio hobbies, my interest in history, and my computer business. You know who I am. You know what I'm about. You know what issues are important to me. I will always take the time to listen to you and explain my rationale, and every decision I ever make or ever will make has to be in the public's best interest, convenience, or necessity.
Which brings up an interesting, I was going to end with that, and I probably should have, but I've got a couple minutes left, and you brought to my mind a thought. You know, some public figures say that they're going to vote their thought process regardless of what their constituents say. Let's say data centers.
Yep.
Let's say you were a big proponent of a data center and you were going to vote for it regardless of what constituents think. Do you agree with that reasoning, or?
No, I think you should take into consideration your constituents with the following caveat: as long as the law allows for that mechanism. And this is my concern. Anytime, and this is no reflection on you, Katie, but when I hear people out politicking who have not been through the process, it's very easy to say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And the reality of it is it's not. And the reason why, after I left City Council the first time, I never publicly criticized the councils after that point, is because what I learned in my first year is that they are always privy to more information than the public is. And sometimes, for whatever reason, that can't be shared. And so, yeah, I could sit at home and grumble and say, I think that was a dumb decision. But I really don't know all the factors. What were the legal considerations? What were the financial considerations? What were the liabilities? What were the positive strengths? And anybody who gets elected to this position or a higher level office is going to learn that, right? That's part of the learning process.
So if you were steadfastly opposed to the data center, Katie, and you had constituents, a majority of them, saying, we need to build this, and you could legally do so, would you go with your mindset or with your constituents?
So from the get-go, I am here to be on the side of the residents. If the residents are gung-ho on this data center, then that is the decision of the people. However, I will be doing my due diligence, which is putting into place all sorts of performance measures, ensuring that it doesn't negatively impact our community, and ensuring that the residents understand all of those pros, cons, the legal ramifications of doing these kinds of things, like John was just mentioning. I do think we need to be upfront with the residents about that. They are very smart individuals. They are out there, they are looking, and they are asking questions, and we owe it to them to share as much information as humanly possible, so that way they do have as much as we do, minus maybe some of the closed room legal conversations.
And people, quite frankly, have a responsibility, too, to seek out that information.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be laid right smack dab in their laps. They're going to listen to radio, read the paper. I'm not a big social media guy, but
there's a lot of avenues that we can get the message out there.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks for coming in the studio. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for hosting this.
Very much. You bet. Oh, that's right. You had something you wanted to talk about, Katie. I've got a couple minutes.
Perfect. It'll just take a second. So myself, Jake Reed, and Paul Wunderlich are going to be hosting a community meet and greet out at Viaduct Park this Saturday on August 8th. We're going to be there starting at noon. I do know that there might be some rain expected, so we're going to stay until we get rained out or until 5 o'clock, whichever comes first. But we'd love to have you come down, meet you, talk about what your concerns are, what you'd like to see, and share a little bit about, what we have to offer as candidates for City Council.
Will you be in the building if it rains?
No, we're going to be out in the park with the people.
Why couldn't you be in the building?
I want to be with the people, Gordy.
No, but the people could be in the building, too.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nice sunny day for the morning. I think we'll be out enjoying what we can until the rain comes.
Oh, okay. I mean, that building's open for people to use, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
You might be able to get inside if you want to.
Oh, I'm sure we could.
No sense in being out in the rain if you don't have to.
But of course, if it's as gorgeous on Saturday as it was today and yesterday,
I wanna
there's
be
no
outside.
need to be inside.
No, you're
Well, then people can enjoy the park, dip your feet in the water. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks to Katie Howard and John Rowan for being with us today. On Friday, we're going to have a couple of tapes again, and we're going to have some local individuals in studio. Well, they're all local individuals, but we'll have some folks in studio as well, and we'll try and divvy it up in the fashion similar to what we did here tonight. Hope you enjoyed our broadcast. Again, let your friends and neighbors know about Friday night, and make sure you come back here on Friday night to listen from those other candidates. 5 tonight, 5 on Friday, 10 candidates for Faribault City Council. 3 seats are to be decided, and we're going to pare the 10 down to 6 for the general election on Tuesday. Tuesday, we encourage you to get out and go to the polls, okay? Make sure you get out and go to the polls on Tuesday. Let's check out the forecast here.
Lows around 54 tonight under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the southwest around 5 miles per hour. High of 79 tomorrow. Mainly clear tomorrow night, 62. Chance for storms Friday. Highs around 80. 79. Lots of sunshine Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley.
Download the free KDHL radio app for your Android or Apple device. Get details at kdhlradio.com.
And while I've got a few seconds here, tomorrow our AM Minnesota program, Jill Stratman will be with me. She's kind of coordinating the pet parade, which they say is in its 90th year. Its 90th year. Can you imagine that? So I asked earlier today, I went to a lot of different places. I said, do you think somebody in this community remembers the very first pet parade? Which, as I understand it, from looking at some historical documents, was in 1932, which, by the way, is not 90 years ago. Anyway, Jill will be on the show tomorrow. Hope you'll join us.
News, sports, talk, and more. You're listening to the Mighty 920 KDHL.
Surprise. Wait, do I know you? You use your Discover Cashback card to earn 5% cashback on restaurants all quarter.
Yeah.
Now, it's payback time.
Whoa, hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh, you mean my Discover Cashback.
I told you there'd be payback.
You know, you have a weird way of delivering good news.
I'm working on that.
Activate and earn 5% cash back at different categories each quarter on up to $1,500 in purchases.
Terms apply. See discover.com/5 for details.